Said all I want from you is to see you tomorrow. And every tomorrow, maybe you let me borrow your heart.
Hey, what's going on? Justin here from Modern Mixing, and today I wanted to talk about adding some life to the mix bus. So when you see my processing, most of the processing that I did on the master bus was some EQ. It's a tiny bit of limiting or some sort of soft clipping, but it's mostly EQ wise. So I don't really want you to take that at face value, meaning that, oh, he added an EQ so he made it brighter or he made it stand out or whatever it might be. What I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to get that vocal and basically everything else on the record to sort of pop out so that you're like, wow, like now I can really feel that vocal or that performance. But not only that, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to enhance the sort of three-dimensionality of the record. And sometimes when things are a little bit darker, like this particular record is, it tends to hide that, three-dimensional space. So if you can kind of poke things up a little bit in the mid-range, then it definitely helps out a lot. So when we think of mix bus processing and we're looking at other engineers, especially a lot of pro engineers, we take what they do at face value. So they add compression, they add EQ, they add all these other things, and we're just sitting there thinking like, okay, well, I have to add EQ and I have to add compression, but you don't really understand what they're thinking unless they specifically tell you every thought that's going on in their head as they're adding that processing to the mix bus. So what I want you to try to do is think of terms that sort of move away from the processing realm, because processing tends to turn on that technical portion of our brain. So think of things like, I want to add some energy instead of saying I want to add some, low end. I would phrase it in the sense of I want to add some energy to the track. Or if you want to make things brighter, you want things to stand out or whatever it might be, I like to use terms like I want to open it up, I want to feel the space in the record, I want the vocals to come to life, all these other terms. These are the things I'm thinking in my head as I'm going through the mixing process, or I'm adding some processing to the mix bus. For this particular record anyways, I used the Hornet EQ, and I've already touched on it a little bit. Why I'm using this EQ, as you can see here with the mid-range band here, I'm boosting up around 3.5 kilohertz here, and I'm boosting it up about 2 to 3 dBs. And also with the high shelf here, I have it set to 5K, and I'm boosting up, same thing, about 2 to 3 dBs from 5K and above. But I'm also driving the input a little bit here, so once it gets to the chorus, you can see it drive up into this red zone here. So it's adding a little bit of color, a little bit of character, and what that's doing is it's kind of crunching the track just a little bit. I don't like to use the word crunch because it sounds kind of nasty, but it's kind of compacting it a bit. So instead of using a compressor, I'm kind of getting it away with this input knob here. It's adding its own form of compression, and then it's also focusing things more on the mid-range because, again, like I said, this track was pretty dark sounding, so I need to bring out that mid-range. And then from there, I also added some more color here with the EQ here. So again, I'm trying to get that vocal to stand out. I'm trying to make it more three-dimensional. I'm trying to get it to sound brighter, and again, enhance the space or the landscape in the record. Because when things are dark, it's really, really hard to get a sense of that landscape. So instead of me explaining these things to you like I'm doing right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it to you before and after, and then I want you to sort of come up with your own variations in your head, in your mind, as to how you feel like there's more life that's being added to the record. And then from there, you can take that and then you can apply that to your own records. But again, think of it more from a musical perspective, from an emotional perspective. How does the record make you feel before the EQ is on and then after the EQ comes on? So let's check it out. First, I'll do the verses, then I'll bring it over to the hook. So right now, it's going to be in bypass.
Said all I want from you is to see you tomorrow. And every tomorrow, maybe you let me borrow your heart. Said all I want from you is to see you tomorrow. And every tomorrow, maybe you let me borrow your heart. Is it too much to ask for every Sunday? Don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me, 'cause you might look around and find find your dreams come true with me. Don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me, 'cause you might look around and find your dreams come true with me. Spend all your time and your money just to find out that my love was free. Don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me.
You know, think of it logically. The more that you can approach it from an emotional perspective and you can sort of dig down deep inside, that's when your records are really, really going to start to come to life. And just remember, you hear things differently than I do, and I hear things differently than you do. And, you know, we both hear different things differently than every other engineer, and that's what makes us unique. So embrace the fact that you hear differently and, you know, you approach things differently, and then run with that because that's what's going to help you stand out. But that's it for today, and I'll see you on the next tutorial. Take care.
Don't act like it's a bad thing to fall in love with me, 'cause you might look around and find your dreams come true